Yeah, let's see if it
Yeah,
shows up here. Yeah, maybe.
like that.
So
Nice.
this is going to be
And
fun.
whereas mine has turned more white, you can just see barely.
Oh, that's a marvelous flavor. That Empress gin
Uh-huh.
is
And
really, really
it
neat.
still is a little bit tart.
Well, 2
But-
ounces of lemon juice will do that to you.
Right.
But the
I love
lustrous
tart
Pepper
drinks.
factor.
Yeah, the lustrous pearl is beautiful. I would drink this just because it's beautiful. So.
Yeah, is important.
Well, what I found interesting is that later in the book, she does start having all these plastic surgeries. She gets involved with Barbara as her assistant. Her character goes downhill. The
Yes.
more beautiful she
Mhm.
becomes, the uglier
Yes.
on the outside, the uglier she
Right.
becomes on the inside.
Mhm.
Chasing that beauty, chasing that perfection doesn't feed your soul like you think
No.
it will.
No,
And- and
it
I-
actually depletes it. You may, on the outer shell, you may look better, but you are depleting who you are on the inside, and that does lead to serious problems.
And can I take it then that you are not a fan of plastic surgery? and
No, you see this face? I have friends that have all, there's no Botox, there's no fillers. I will never, this is my natural hair color, my natural curly hair. Nope.
Yeah.
Because Carl
I am
June,
who I am.
That's right.
And but at the same time, I'm not going to sit in judgment of anybody who does, especially like, so that's fine. But at
I
the
don't
same
think-
time,
It's not judgment, though, if you understand that the vast majority of people who fix their physical whatever aren't happier. And I mean, I know for a long time, I'll try not to show my profile as I say this. I was very self-conscious about my nose. And in fact, one teacher even kind of made a comment about it. And there was a time in my life I thought, I'm gonna, when I was maybe 16, something like that, I'm gonna get my nose changed. Well, eventually it's like, you know what? I'm happy with who I am. I don't care what anyone
But
thinks
you
about my
remember
nose.
that. How old were you when that happened?
Oh, I was in 7th grade, and if she's
And you
out there,
still
thank you,
remember.
Mrs. Castellano, I still remember who said
You
it.
still remember.
Yeah.
Because
the
those
good
things, that's the line here about my McDonald's low self-esteem from my 5-star mother. She's saying that to herself. But
Right.
that's how and that's what gets stuff down in us when it comes
Right.
to that. And those things are very difficult to extricate from who we are.
But I think it depends what attitude you come to it, because from a very early age, there were some things said and done, I won't go into who, when I was very young, that even at the age of 5, I was like, are you kidding me?
yeah.
Why would you say that? And so in 7th grade, when she said that, yeah, it was a little bit embarrassing, but there was also a very large part of my brain going, that's a really unprofessional thing for a teacher to do to a kid. That's just wrong.
Absolutely. Yeah, I want to say two things. One, like I have one of my best friends from high school. She later in life ended up getting breast implants, and it made her deliriously happy. And it wasn't because she was trying to be a Kim Kardashian. For her and how she felt, and that was it. She's never had anything else ever, but that's just her autonomy and agency. She did something for her, and it was healthy. I had a reduction because it was causing me all kinds of
Yep, I've
problems.
heard that.
Yeah, so there's a difference between doing plastic surgery on a healthy level because
Yes.
it makes you happy, great. Or you medically need something, right?
Right.
Versus when trauma hits you so hard that you feel like nothing is ever going to be better. Now I need to get my lips super big, or I need to get cheek implants, or you get into that nothing is ever going to get me. You chase that dragon, so to speak. That's where
Yes.
plastic surgery can get really dangerous. Or when you're super young, and that's what frustrates me about a lot of these reality stars on either Love Island or Kim, the Kardashians or whatever. They're so young when they're already beautiful. They're changing their face when they're already perfect as they are. That is because they're trying to keep up with the Joneses, or whatever the expectations are of beauty. And that
Right.
becomes problematic because when young kids or even adults, whomever is looking at, oh, I have a problem with my nose or my ears or fill in the blank, oh, well, this person who I idolize, well, then I guess I have to do that. And it becomes a mental health issue.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
Carl Jung covered this in a book called The Archetypes of the Mind a long time ago. And the basic idea of putting on masks, that we end up spending so much energy putting on those masks and not being ourselves, that it ends
Right.
up creating a huge amount of dysfunction, within our lives in that. And if we respect our personality, when we respect who we truly are, we can actually flourish as a person versus putting on a persona that other people might want to see, but for ourselves ends up being wrong.
Schnapps, because I like to say schnapps. Bazinga. I don't know if I'm up to reading. You might need to do it because I can't do characters like you can. I'm going to be embarrassed.
I'm happy to do it if you want me to. Totally
Yeah,
happy to do
You
it.
probably should.
You might actually stumble when he says the big bulge.
Right.
I got to pull off a male voice. No.
I got you, Ashley.
I think you two have cost us our G rating.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
We
we've
do-
had
It could have been a sock. I mean,
it probably was, or he lost the tennis ball or something. And
Right,
it fell down his pants unnoticed.
And so as a 7-year-old boy, I have to say, please witness the bulge in my pants. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh my gosh.
That's the
That's so
drink of
funny.
the night. And I hate to say that.
There's so many jokes that I'm just not going to say.
G rating. It's a family show.
The
Right.
funniest part of this is I read through your reading. I don't know what I was focused on. And he came back to me and he's like, that was a little risque. I was like, it was? What was in it? So I don't know where my brain was when I was reading it. I think I was, anyway.
Well,
Go
hold your
ahead.
girls, honey, because here we go.
You know, one thing I found interesting that Barbara says at some point is that women don't make themselves beautiful for the sake of men. They do it to make other women envious. I am curious, from your experiences, is that true, or is it only what Barbara believes is true?
I think it's both. I come from I've been a performer from stage and TV and film and voiceover for pretty much 30 years, most of my life, right? And there is obviously there's the part where you want to look good for your partner, your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend. So there's that allure and whatnot, and that chemistry. But with women, especially in my industry, it can be very catty. It can be very judgmental, and it's a lot about it's another reason why so many young women get plastic surgery or get the Botox or get the duck lips, because they're keeping up with the Joneses, like I said before, not because they're worried about their boyfriend, but because they're worried about, oh, well, Jessica just got this and look at how all the attention she's getting. So it's a competition, even if it's like, which was put upon us, right? With the ads, and even from way back in the 50s, you always have to look your best, and you always have to, what's happening over with Janet? Well, Janet, ABC, I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambly, but it's important to note that it's not just about looking good for someone else, but you should actually only want to do it because you look good for yourself.
I found that a very interesting comment. I've often joked that I'm missing part of the female gene because I don't like shopping. I do not like trying on clothes, ironically, compared to what I just said. But also because I played trombone from the time I was in 6th grade through playing semi-professionally into my 30s. I spent a lot of time with guys, not with girls. And these guys sometimes in college, I think forgot that it wasn't just all the guys, and they spoke a little more freely. And I realized, they're talking about, okay, so all the girls, I'm hearing it from their side in college. Oh my gosh, all these men wanted to, hook up with me at the frat party, and I'm so popular and beautiful, and I must be amazing. And then I go sit with my low brass studio, who's all guys except me, and they're like,
Emphasis
"Oh,
on low.
very much." Speaking bulge in the pants, and these guys are like, "Oh man, she is so easy,"
Mhm.
Wow, that was an
So,
eye-opening experience. What is that phrase? Men give love to get sex, and women give sex to get love, something
yes,
like that.
and
And
that's
I
very
saw it
true.
close up. And so I don't think I ever really felt that, because I'm seeing these guys close up and going, you need to
Yeah.
learn what you're dealing with.
So in my case, a lot of Claire's character comes from my personal experiences in terms of just some of the snarkiness and the way she looks at certain things in the world. A lot of that came from me personally. And um, when I was younger, girls were very catty. I was very athletic. I was very much a tomboy. I would be out there, and I still to this day, I'm an NRA certified firearms instructor. And guess what? I'm usually the only female that's out there. It doesn't, I've always been drawn to, I have sports cars. I've always had sports cars because I like them. I'm like you. I don't like to shop. Ugh. I do like makeup. So I am girly in
Like
that
healing.
aspect. But I do that for other women because I know I have been on the receiving end for so many years from very catty women commenting about how I looked.
Mhm.
And not the guys, but the women. Mean things that when you're younger stick with you.
Mhm.
There's a one of my books, there's a line that was said to me many times over the years, and it's still something that bothers me to this day. So I realize that this character, she's going through so much, and it's like, that is so true because Claire is trying to impress her mother, and will until the day she dies. She's trying to impress, even though her mom is dead.
Mhm.
She is not trying to impress her boyfriend Chris or her boss Barbara or anybody else. She's trying to impress her mom. And so many women suffer from that problem.
Mhm.
And or a best friend or older sister or someone that they really looked up to. In Bridget's case, she's enamored with Barbara because she's so
Mhm.
beautiful. It's not about trying to fluff our feathers and attract a mate. I don't know how
Right.
many times she told me that. She's like, they don't know that yet. And I'm like, oh, you're right.
Right. Well,
Hold on. Here's one of the things. Speaking about like having been a game designer, I went to college the second time for game design, and one of the things that we're taught is to kill your darlings or kill your babies,
yes.
which you've got to really like. You've got this great idea, and you're really close to it. And you're like, oh my god, I can see it. I can visualize it. I'm like, I know this is brilliant. But then you have to be completely okay to go when you have your
Yes.
partner or the team goes, that's not going to work. Great, let's start over, or let's pick these things. So you have to be in that mindset
Mhm.
to like, I would submit like rewrote chapter 4, and then I'm like, and then she's like, no, yes, yes, no, no, and I'm like, great, I can see how it works better,
Yep.
and especially with she's the professional long-term author, so she was mentoring me in a great
Yeah.
deal, you know what I mean? So it was pretty kind of special, but I also think because we have such a close relationship and we already speak a shorthand and we just know each other, I think the gelling was already there for
Yeah,
us
it
to
was.
because
Yeah.
I don't remember any fights. There would be like,
No,
no, we need to keep this, or like there'd be like in passion, but there was never a fight. And there was like,
no.
yeah, okay, you're right, or no, or you know what I mean? So I think that helps, at least especially on our end, with
Mhm.
Right.
how we
So
can gel it
see,
together.
I've co-written both with my husband Chris and with Kendall Price on his it's set in 221 BC, hence the name. And with Chris, it's like he wrote the first, 20, 30 pages, and I kind of expanded on that. I think he might have read a little bit, and that was The Saint in the Cellar, which was based on a house that actually exists in St. Paul, Minnesota. And then with Kendall, his process is interesting. He essentially plays a D&D game, and then he weaves it all into this actual history of Egypt I think it's Egypt of 221 BC, but that whole area beyond Egypt. And then he weaves in this search for these magical amulets. And so, I very much take him as he is the author. And I thought it was, I see myself kind of more as an editor / ghostwriter, but he put my name on the cover as a co-writer, which, it really was, but we send the manuscript back and forth, and he sort of creates the whole premise and story. And then I'm the one with more experience writing who can say, as you said, but the author, sorry, I swallowed wrong, but the reader doesn't know that, or how did we get from A
Why
to
can't
C?
they be in my head?
Right, no kidding. No,